Boom. Welcome to Doodles to Deadlines, the podcast where we like to talk comic things. We like to talk comic creation. We like to talk really just comic book culture in general. The first few podcasts, we spoke more to comic book creation, writers' perspectives, that sort of thing. So today we are doing the breakdown of Superman, the new Superman. So that's going to be a fun one. We figured that it's going to take up the whole episode. So I would like to introduce everybody. I'm Jimmy Houston. I'm the host here. I'd like to introduce Daniel Ryle. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely, Daniel. And Drew Tomlinson, co-host. How are we doing?
Wow. Fantastic.
Great commentary.
Excited to talk some Superman.
Okay, so once again, Daniel, I will put up in post. I'll put up your a link to your website. I will always put up the link to our website. You know, forgelorecomics.com.
Oh, dang. Get it.
I'm just saying. You know, a little product placement.
So good.
Oh goodness. I tell you what, it tastes so good coming out of this cup. It tastes better. I got coffee cream in here. I think it's Harry Potter, but it tastes better coming out of this cup. That's what I'm saying. Oh, no, that's good. That's a good breakfast blend. That's coming out good. Okay, guys. So let's start. Who wants to start? So let's go. I have it broken down. I took so many notes as the movie progressed. I know that we talked a little bit off screen. So I know, Daniel, you broke down kind of some overall stuff. And Drew, you broke it down in the beginning. And then, you know, your heart broke and you died a little.
All the way. I died all the way. And then I had to still sit through like 2 hours of movie. It was awful.
Okay, so let's start off at the very beginning. So Superman hits the ground, right? Hits the ground in the snow. So what did we all think from this beginning scene? I'm not going to talk scene second by second, but let's just go for the overall with him in the snow. Go ahead.
Let's start even before that.
Okay, go ahead.
The lore dump. The lore dump is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, oh yeah, lore dump. Oh, by the way, I know you just started the movie, but let's just read the lore dump.
I know.
What are we doing? Like, this isn't Star Wars. Like, you can't do that now. It's not a scrolling before. Hey, but 4 times. No, this is Superman, and we just decided to lore dump at the beginning. And then what do? Like, the first thing, okay, we lore dump. We're lore dumping. I know you hate this, but oh yeah, by the way, Superman's already beat up and he's worthless. Yeah. Guess what? Your hero, he's a piece of shit.
Hold on.
He sucks.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Danny.
All right. So now I obviously agree with you in terms of lore dump. Especially because, like you said, it's not Star Wars. I like that. It's like, come on, this is a comic book movie, all those other things. Now, I don't mind him bleeding to start. And the reason why I don't mind is me as a writer, I'm a huge fan of the cold open. I like the idea that we don't know what's going on. I like the idea. Now, if he's mid-fight, right? Like, let's say it's mid-fight, and he gets back up, and he's as stoic as ever, and he's like, all right, you got me. But then he goes in and finishes the fight or whatever he's going to do. That'd be awesome. The problem is, for me, it's not that he was bleeding and hurt. It's the fact that he stayed down. Some stupid dog showed up that was ragged and uncontrollable and silly, and it broke the vibe of tension that was instantly created. You literally, you had a moment where it was just like, okay, I'm involved, I'm invested. What's happening? Oh, I have a dog running around that's for a 3-year-old to get laughs at. Like, I totally don't care anymore.
Now, I'm going to spark up a little controversy here because I know I will, I'm also holding the plastic knife. Let's not do that. So, let me tell you. So, let me tell you why I hate Krypto. Right? Let me tell you why. All it was Grogu, and I hate Grogu.
That's fair.
Grogu ruined the Mandalorian. You know why? Because they went, oh, here's an awesome space western. Now let's put in a puppet. Hey, we got a reason to get rid of this puppet and go back to an awesome space western. Hey, now let's just turn it into the Muppet Show. and that's all they did. And with this, it was just this cute little grab to bring in the little kitties. Oh, he's such a cute little dog. Blah blah blah. I hate the dog. I hate the dog in the beginning. I hate the dog throughout the movie, and I hate the dog in general. I think it's stupid. True.
So I totally agree. The thing is, okay, I hate the fact that Superman's bleeding. Superman doesn't bleed ever. Like, you have to have kryptonite to make Superman bleed. Everybody freaking knows it.
That's
so
fair.
like, he's not bleeding unless it's Doomsday he's fighting. So he can't be bleeding. So super dumb. So he can be bruised, whatever. I don't care. But I guess I wouldn't even have him bruised, because technically that implies that you're bleeding internally.
Okay, I can get
you're
with
not
that.
supposed
Bruise
to
him
do
up.
that. Like, okay, whatever. Superman's bleeding. He's on the ground. Instead of like him getting up, like dusting himself off and being like, "Oh, you're now I'm pissed and I'm gonna whoop your ass." Instead of that, you my dog, help me, carry me back to my fortress of solitude.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, so dumb. Jeez Louise, that was dumb.
So here was the worst part, because what we're talking about here transitions directly in him going into the sunroom in the Fortress of Solitude, and the pain and suffering he went through. You know what I would wish to happen? You know what I would have loved to have happened for there? I would have loved for him to be bleeding out, get his way to his knees, get his way to his feet, fly up and heal himself in the sun. Instead, he gets wheeled in. I need to watch pictures of my parents while I heal. I hated it so much. And the fact that
the robots were dumb.
The robots
were dumb.
But the excruciating pain he went through during the healing process was horrible. It made for a pathetic, sad, just wisp of a whim of just a pathetic Superman.
And they could have at least like just show everything going away. Like, it should have been a release. Like, oh my God. Like, now we're getting back into it.
Yeah.
I feel great now.
Yeah.
Somebody's about to get wrecked. None of that. There was not a single time in that whole movie where Superman was like, "You're about to get wrecked." Like,
well, unless you count the fake robot scene where he turns around and spins his lasers around, does all that stupid stuff. Like, it was so cheesy.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Well, I'm going to agree.
You know why it doesn't count? You know why it doesn't count? Just Minions.
Well, I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he never bested somebody in quote unquote like in a fight that could think. Like there was a. It's funny because I talked. I mean, there's so many overarching themes and things like that we could get into. I know we're going like right now, like kind of like scene by scene. With
a little bit, but just so we can get to the
you know
progression
why?
of everything.
Because that's how freaking bad it was. You have to go scene by scene.
So I mean, overarch, but I think already our complaints are set the tone for the movie, because one of the things that I think defines Superman. Now the great thing about me in this conversation is Superman is your guys's superhero. That was your of choice growing up, right? That was your guys' boy. Like I was never a huge Superman fan. I just wasn't. But I can respect the Boy Scout that he was and what he represented, but it wasn't what I liked to read. But the case in point is Superman is supposed to be the salt of the earth. He's supposed to be stoicism. He's supposed to represent control, and he was none of those things. He wasn't in control of his emotions. He wasn't in control of his actions. He regularly didn't have answers for the decisions that he made. He was basically a boy the entire movie, but the narrative goes deeper than that, because Lex Luthor was also a boy. The tantrums that he threw, the irritations that he showed.
Tantrums.
Yeah, no, exactly. So what I'm saying is like the regular occurrence in that movie was boys that were playing, that were fighting each other, not men. And I think that's a very telling sign of the rest of the movie and the undercurrent. And then for me also as a writer, it's like you can't take Superman's lore and then decide that his parents don't matter. The idea that the Kents in particular,
when we get to it, we'll talk about how they mattered.
Were just country bumpkins and idiots.
Oh, that was so terrible.
In which, to me, see, like the reason why like I can appreciate Superman is because basically he came from this really home-filled, enriched, loving family, and his father was very wise, and his mother was very loving, and together they really and basically enriched his life. And the fact that they made it about some video of his parents, and the fact that his dad was also another poor representation of masculinity. He was very weak. He was very simple. Not simple is the wrong word. He was a simpleton and very weak, and his advice was terrible. We can get to that when we can talk about that scene, but his advice to his son was terrible. And just there's a lot of things there that I think that's what we're angry about, because Superman is supposed to be this figure, and he wasn't.
Let me speak to that just for. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Okay.
Let me speak to this. So let me tell you a movie where they did it amazingly well, when you had a gap and they needed to throw a little lore in there, but they didn't lore dump with a bunch of text on the screen, right? Superman Returns, right? He shows up out of nowhere. His mom's waiting for him. He shows up. He comes back. He talks. He does this interview, and he's like, hey, I went to go find my planet. Now you have a reason why he was gone, but now that he's back, it didn't just go, here's a little something, Superman's this and Superman's that. It went, hey, there's a gap between the last time we saw Superman with Reeves and now that we see Superman as Brandon Routh as in Superman Returns. There's a reason for that, but it was a good reason, right? Like, he comes back, but he comes back home. He doesn't come back to Metropolis. He goes back home.
Also, that's great segue, but I would also say, like, in terms of you're talking about lore dump, like I know Drew, you talked about how much you hated that. Like, from a writer's perspective, like, that's actually something we should be very careful with. Like, when you write a book, I mean, you should really, I mean, it's cheesy as this, metaphor is going to be. It's kind of like a flower, right? Like, you want it to blossom as the reader's reading it, and you're giving them just enough to want to keep turning the page and keep seeing why, and then you get little fragments, and it gets them thinking, and then they're curious, and then they start guessing, and then they're like invested, and then they're involved. And when you lore dump, you take a lot of that away, because you're just throwing it onto the page, or in this case the screen, and the readers just have it now. And there was no build up, there's no character interaction, there was no like slow burn here and there. Same thing like with Lois Lane already dating Clark Kent and already knowing that she's Superman, right? Like there's no engagement, it just is.
Right,
and
so it's just lazy.
Yeah.
It's just lazy. You're just right. Go ahead.
Yeah. The thing that was bad about their behavior, about Lex and Superman in general, is we're supposed to be getting, like, the whole point of that stupid lore dump at the beginning was like, hey, this isn't the origin story of Superman. Hey, he's already Superman. He's already doing stuff.
But he wasn't.
But then you take that, oh, he's already Superman, and you make him a juvenile child.
Yeah, exactly.
It's way more irritating than if if he had been Smallville. If he had been like, you could understand if he was first getting into it, maybe he would be a little more childish. But it's so much harder to take it if everything's already been established.
Yeah. I agree.
Let me put into this another place that did it very well. When you're trying to establish an adult relationship between Superman and Lex Luthor, right? And this is what we should have got. So in Superman the animated series, when Lex is trying to get away with a bunch of stuff, Clark figures it out. He stops him. He shows up. He foils all of his plans, and it's got to be one of my favorite Superman moments. Lex is sitting at his desk. He's got his big glass high-rise window behind him, and Superman's sitting there like this. He doesn't say anything. He's just floating in the air. And Lex turns around, and he opens the glass, and he's like, what do you want? Something to that effect. And Superman's stoic, and he's quiet. And he's like, what do you want? And he was like, I'll be watching you. And flies off. I was like, that's what you do. This is an adult, right? They don't throw these little quips. Nobody throws a tantrum. Lex is ticked off, but he's mature. He's ticked off because his plans got thwarted. And what does he do? He gets angry, right? And what does he do? He amps up for his next, whatever it is. But Superman is just going, I'm watching you, man. I'm here. Let's do this. Right? But he doesn't throw a tantrum. He doesn't get emotional. He doesn't, and we'll get to this later on, but he doesn't have some super emotional crybaby speech at the end of the movie when he's in Lex's terror dome. Let's call it that.
You know what this reminded me of? So the way Superboy was written, even in the cartoons, he was more stoic than this version, obviously. But it reminded me more of them trying to do a silly Teen Titans type approach to this movie. Was like, oh yeah, hey, Superman and Lex Luthor, they're young and they're really funny and it's fun and young and funny. And you're just like, the problem is the characters that you're creating are not like that. They basically tried to harness what they did with something like Thor Ragnarok, where
terrible movie.
It wasn't.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely disagree. I love it, but
it's a great movie.
But what they tried to capture with Thor Ragnarok, that essence of feeling like a comic book, like Thor Ragnarok basically felt like a comedic version of what Thor was in the comics. Like all the visuals were very close to the comic book. This was like, oh hey, you remember when Superman was campy and dumb and like he was just being crazy? Yeah, no, I don't, because it's dumb.
Yeah,
nobody wants to remember the terrible writing that happened throughout the years, because there was.
What's really fun? What's so funny about what you just talked about, right? Is, you hit on something that reminded me Teen Titans. You're talking about Teen Titans and the campus. So for me, it's Superman. Oh, I lost what I was going to ask. I didn't want to interrupt you, but it's the same. It's on that premise where, Superman. The thing is, Superman may be kind in the sense where he doesn't, he doesn't kill, he doesn't do these things. He's the Boy Scout. He controls himself, which is part of the fact that he can control himself, which speaks volumes of his discipline and his own personal will, when he could just tear through people. But the case in point is in the movie, he is walked over by everyone. I don't think there's a time in that movie where he shows a level of backbone, because backbone doesn't have to mean you're mean, or it doesn't have to mean you have to cuss somebody out, but you could just hold the line of your values, and you can do it in a way which just promotes who you are, right? And that never happened. It didn't matter who was talking to him, or if it was a dog, or at the very end when he's cussed at and was given a derogatory slur by his cousin, right? Oh, and so that was even dumb. Oh my god, that was so dumb. So, but I mean, unless you guys are doing a review of that movie, I'll never watch that movie, Supergirl, because I knew it was going to be bad.
We're going to have to watch the movie.
We're going to watch.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to watch that now.
Yeah,
but
so we're going to do, aside from what we normally do, we're going to do the DCU. We're going to do the DCU
because if I did not know anything about Supergirl's character, which I know some, like I said, I know some of DC and stuff like that, but that one line made me not want to watch her movie, because that set the tone of the type of character and attitude she was going to have. And that is not someone I want to spend an hour and a half rooting for.
You mean the entire movie that you watched before that made you not want to watch
No,
movie?
No. I'm saying.
I'm just saying, like that director directed the next movie. There's no way I would watch.
In terms of the director, right? Like one of my favorite comic book movies, without question, is Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Guardians of the Galaxy was lightning in a bottle. I think it was. Sure. Yeah, of course, there's only one. There's only one in my mind. I think 2 was terrible. I think 3 was also not good for lots of other reasons.
3.
So
what's that?
I didn't watch 3.
3 did the number one thing. One of the number one things I hate when they do to characters, where you build up all this time and effort into liking characters, and then you decide to change them all at the last second because of, I don't know, time travel or something else. That's lame.
Sure.
And so I don't like when movies do that, because like, why am I invested my life in the past 2 movies when now you're just going to change all the characters? So that's a whole pure conversation about writing that we can get into a whole another time. But case in point, Guardians of the Galaxy is I consider it lightning in a bottle. There was nothing else like it. The way they did the music, the way they did the angles, the way they did the fight scenes and the banter, it was just all so very good, and I loved it. And I didn't know who James Gunn was. I had no clue who this director was. Right? I'm like, I just liked the movie, but then I can't help but see
almost
him.
Nobody knew who the Guardians were.
Yeah, that's also true and funny. But my whole point is, because that movie was, I think, the epitome of his level of success, all I see is B-rated versions of that movie out of everything he does.
Sure.
And I spoke to this with Jimmy earlier, where I said the fight scene with Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Terrific, when Mr. Terrific put up that bubble around Lois and then had his things flying around and he beat up all those guys, it was cool, but it was so reminiscent of any fight scenes in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
There's got to be a different way for you to set up a cool moment that doesn't have to be 70s and 80s music of a guy beating up a bunch of guys at once.
Well,
and so
go ahead.
I just and the fight that they weren't even as good. That's what I'm saying. It feels like it's like James Gunn has a system that he felt like it worked, and he's continuously trying to redesign the wheel, and it's never going to be as good as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen.
Does the same damn movie 5,000 times in a row.
So that scene with Mr. Terrific and the scene at the end with the Green Lantern saving everybody in the country when the country was getting invaded.
Liberians?
Yeah, those were the 2 only cool scenes in the entire movie, and they were only moderately cool, except for the fact that the Green Lantern FUs were kind of funny.
Those were funny.
I like that.
I feel like you only rate them as cool because the rest of the movie was so bad. So
I don't think so. I legitimately thought Mr. Terrific's fight scene was cool, and I liked. Now I think they used a crappy version of Green Lantern. I would never have used him. I don't like him. He's not. He's liked, but he's also hated. But I thought that scene was exactly that character, and I thought it was perfect. And I looked at that because I've seen it twice now. Angrily enough, and I
can't believe you watched that a second time. There's no way.
I had to take notes.
You couldn't pay me. Pay me to watch that a second time.
I guarantee you, I could pay you to watch it. But anyway,
how much?
A lot, probably very little. I paid you $300. You watch it again. So what I mean is, I thought I thought it was cool. The little finger up every time he popped a tank. I thought that was awesome. I liked it, but I felt the same way the second time as I did the first time. I thought it was a cool scene. Now, do I hate that Green Lantern? Absolutely. I don't like it. I think it's a stupid Green Lantern. So many better lanterns to go with, but not in this movie because this movie sucked. Hawkgirl.
Why waste a good character?
Yeah, right. Hawkgirl. I didn't like Hawkgirl either. Not because there was anything wrong with her character. It's not like Hawkgirl didn't exist, but this little battle screech she did every 13 seconds.
I hated that, terrible.
Right? Then
hated that so much.
The thing is, I cared very little for Mr. Terrific, but I think out of that entire cast, there's 3
He
characters.
was the best.
He was the best. I think there's 3 characters they cast very well. Mr. Terrific, I think they cast Lois amazing, and I love the way they cast Jimmy. I thought they were perfect casting. and I thought they were
I
perfect characters of. I thought they were perfect representations of those characters.
I completely disagree with Lois.
Why?
What about
I
Lois?
I hated Lois so much.
Sure, but why did you hate Lois?
It's
You got to have a reason.
her that very first scene where her and Clark are going back and forth
Sure.
was everything that's bad about Lois's character in general. I can't stand her.
Tell me this. How is it not Lois?
Everything that lady did was similar to Lois, except for on a much more highly annoying scale.
Let me.
So like
Go ahead.
like you could have taken probably Gal Gadot, who played Wonder Woman, put her in the same role, given her the same script, and she would have been significantly better. Just because
I disagree.
she looks better,
Nope.
she's not as annoying. Like that.
You're
Just
wrong.
that lady had an annoying voice.
You
I have a
God,
question though. Outside of the voice, like we're talking about, like my question is right, like so, like if I'm
Like
writing,
Fran Drescher.
so if I were to write that scene, right, like if I would write that scene, I definitely would have been giving the answers back and forth, right, to the questions, and I would be trying to see how each character sounds. So my question to you, maybe you've already thought about this, maybe you'll have the exact same answer. But I guess my question to you is, was it her that was awful in that scene, or was it the answers that were given by Clark, or technically Superman, right, in that scene, that were just really bad and evasive, and then that only allowed Lois Lane, in theory, right, to ask more questions that were obvious? Because like I feel like while I'm indifferent about Lois, honestly, I think she was irrelevant as usual, and because there was the romance. I don't think the romance was good for them, but like the case in point was like, if he would have answered, I think in a more as a man and not a boy, I think the interview would have been different. I think her follow-up questions, her attacks of why he wasn't giving proper answers, I think a lot of those questions I think were decently fair, but the problem was she was getting terrible answers. So it bothered me that Superman acted more like a petulant child in that scene than it did that Lois was asking him questions, which maybe I think were also a little naive, because it's a little, I think some of them were like, dude, like you're really going to ask Superman to worry about XYZ? It's like, he's Superman. So it's interesting to me, right? Like I was more annoyed by Superman's lack of character development and capability to handle a question than I was of Lois's having to ask the question. So at least that's what I took out of that scene.
I think the thing that annoyed me the most is, if you've ever watched a good interviewer, somebody like Dan Patrick, somebody like, whoever, Jimmy Fallon, Joe Rogan, whoever you think is a good interviewer.
Don't even use. You can use Rogan. Don't use. If you want to use a good interviewer, look at the guy who does Hot Wings or Hot Ones.
Oh yeah,
that guy is a good interviewer.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Sean Evans.
It might be. I don't remember his name. What's up?
Yeah. So anyway, Dan, I use Dan Patrick just because Dan Patrick has been an interviewer for a really long time, and he interviews very high level athletes, which is about the closest you could possibly be to a superhero. So I guess I would use him. So the thing is with Dan is very fair, and she attacked him like he was a politician she was trying to bring down.
That's
versus
the point.
No. But that was an idiotic way to portray her. She would never do that.
She would never do that. She was a hard-hitting, hard-nosed reporter. That is her entire shtick. I don't care if it's
hard-hitting and a hard nose are different than like. She did not.
The gotcha
she
questions.
Did not treat him.
It wasn't even gotcha questions.
Any kind of respect.
He answered like a 3-year-old.
She didn't. She was trying to play devil's advocate and just piss him off. It was kneeling.
No, she wasn't.
There was no reason.
He was a child. You know what? How about this? I'll ask regular questions to a 10-year-old, right? And then when I follow up with the question because they can't answer it, and they answer it like a 10-year-old answers, you're going to go, dude, stop being so rough on them. And I'm going to go, hey, these are regular questions. It's a good question. Why were you there? Who gave you permission to be there? You're going to take him out. You're going to take him from his capital. You're going to take him out in the desert and push him up against the cactus. You want to talk about childish? Look at Superman, who grabs a guy, takes him out in the middle of nowhere and shoves him up against the cactus. That is a childish response to things. It is not Superman.
You're not wrong.
So why wouldn't a reporter ask about that?
It was a dumb answer. So it was a dumb answer. But the problem is she led him to be irritated.
No.
She did not. The problem is the questions were not presented in a way where she's trying to get the best out of him. She was leading him to disaster.
She doesn't need to.
Yes, she does.
Needed to.
If
no,
she
doesn't.
A good
she
interviewer
is not stop.
A good
that
interviewer is
no.
leading to you to
no.
get the
no.
good questions out of you.
Wait.
Yeah, and he couldn't answer. They were good questions. He couldn't answer them.
All right, hold on.
He couldn't answer them.
So okay, I think, I mean, obviously, I think that the truth obviously lies in the middle, but I do think, like, in terms of what Jimmy's saying, like, I would, like, if I did something and I'm being interviewed about an action that I took, or hell, you know, I'm a famous author and I kill one of my beloved characters, I would expect them to be like, you know, why did you kill this character, right? And I better have a good answer. And then she would say, like, aren't you worried that, like, your book sales could go down, or you're going to piss off all your fan base, or all of these things? Are you like, to me, like, those are tough questions. Like tough doesn't have. I mean, as long as they're fair questions, I don't think they have to be. I don't want to be led to good answers. I just want them to be a fair question. Like, at least that's what I think of an interview, right? Like a neutral party. Like, she could ask, well, if there's international borders, and, you know, aren't you worried about how that looks, like getting involved in international conflict? I mean, it was obviously very geopolitical kind of questions that she was giving him.
But
go ahead.
That's also saying, so, like, she's leading him to a bad way because of the fact, like, Superman is not part of America. He doesn't represent America. So him saving somebody in Japan is no different than saving somebody in Asia or Africa.
Maybe he should wear a purple costume.
I mean, he is supposed to be true justice in the American way. I mean, that's where his lore is.
But what I'm saying is, like, he doesn't work for the government. He didn't respond in a way. Yeah, he doesn't work for the government.
Right.
That's
so
the idea.
You're saying because he doesn't work for the government, yeah.
I can save a bunch of Japanese soldiers going down in a submarine, just as easy I could save the little African kid that's about to get eaten by a lion, because I'm Superman.
Right.
I am the protector of the world, and that's the problem.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
If I'm a Green Lantern, I'm gonna take Superman out of the mix. I'm gonna just go with the Green Lantern because it's incredibly powerful. How about this? This is even better. It's even better. I'm Martian Manhunter.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's fine.
I know, you don't have to.
He's a Martian. Okay. He's part of the Justice. Anyway,
he's part of the Justice League.
He's super powerful. Right. I'm Martian Manhunter, right? And I do the exact same thing he did. Right? And I sit down in front of a reporter. You don't think those are the questions I'm going to get asked? You think I'm going to get a bunch of softball questions? I'm going to get, what the hell were you doing there? And I'm going to go, hey, don't ask me questions. Well, why were you there? Who gave you permission? Who are you to think that you could go there and do this? What permissions did you have? And then you start crying and run away. I got to leave, Lois, because I'm going to go home and cry.
The problem is he acted like he was the. Yes, but the thing is, like, not only did she lead him to bad questions, but he did not respond in a way like, hey, I am the protector of all, regardless of where I am. I do not represent any country. I am the defender of the weak.
No, I agree with.
Like,
I mean,
that's what he is.
No,
that's what he is.
If he would, like I say, like if he took a stance like that. That's what I said, like what we talked about in the very beginning, like in terms of like making a stance and like being who you are. Like, if he had just said, it's like, look, it's I don't because
he's not Captain America.
No, that's what I mean. I'm saying, like, but if he says, like, look, if I think it's necessary to do something and I make that decision, It's because I think it's the best decision and it's going to save the most amount of lives or whatever, whatever kind of thing he's going to say, right? Like if he stands by that, then that should be his answer. Except his answers were never about that. It's like they were very emotional based. They're very like how dare you?
Listen.
It's like that, and they weren't even gotcha questions. I mean, those were just like, why did you think
they weren't even? But they weren't even how dare you, because really he didn't respond in a way with like how dare you.
Do that? How did you?
No. But that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to the questions, I definitely think Jimmy's more on target here, just because I think her questions were valid. Like if you're going to talk about geopolitics with Superman, if you're going to talk about borders, if you're going to talk about like being in lines or countries that you shouldn't be in, like in treaties and all those other kind of things. Like I don't remember Lois being that kind of reporter, but let's just say she's. No, I mean again, guys, but you got to remember.
She's also needling him though. Like she's like, oh hey, online they're saying you're dumb and you're stupid. Online. This is the public perception. This isn't what I think.
That's the great thing.
She's totally trying to jab him and get him pissed off. Versus like, hey, explain to me what you were doing there. Why did you decide to get involved?
Let's get some softball questions. Let's do that.
No.
Let's be his PR guy. Oh, that's great. She didn't give him needling questions. She asked him regular questions.
She's his girlfriend,
who gives
and
a
it's
shit?
weird that
he separated it.
That's the point.
She said,
she didn't separate.
She absolutely did. She said it right in the beginning. Just because you can't doesn't mean other people can't.
It just means that she didn't like they just did like the problem is it's all written bad, and the fact that you thought that she would be like that towards him just shows that it was just written very poorly.
I mean, it's funny because I don't have a bone in this fight, so to speak. But it's funny. I'm indifferent. Like I said, I was more concerned with how he acted, probably because I feel he was a very bad. I felt like he was a caricature of himself. Like he was just a bad representation of what Superman was.
He wasn't even a character. He was nothing like himself.
This is an established Superman who's been Supermaning for 3 freaking years. You know why he got softball questions, Christopher Reeve's Superman? He was brand new, and they were like, hey, how come you're so fast? How come you can fly? What are your intentions? He is running around wearing red, white, and blue, and he lives in America. What do you think the rest of the world's going to think? We think there's aliens in Area 51, but we're guessing. We don't know that for a fact, but we assume it, right? Everybody in the world is going to assume if a guy who runs around with a red cape and he's wearing blue and he's wearing red, they're going to go, wait, that guy lives in Metropolis and he saves everybody in Metropolis and in America? He probably works for America. What's he doing intervening in foreign policy?
So what do you think? But the problem is, I think Lois would have never attacked him that way. I think his answers were dumb, but the whole thing is dumb. Well, right? She would have never attacked him like that, and he would have never responded like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if she would ever attack him like that. I would say that's probably true.
You know, the thing is, I've never seen any reporter, even good reporters, ever attack anybody. Usually, what they do is they go, "Hi, I got some questions for you. Well, what's your favorite color? Is it blue? Is it purple?" No, they don't do that. They go, boom, 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 boom. This is what we're trying to get at. They don't go, how can I get the very best out of this person? No, that's not what they do. This is about
there is a difference.
Policy. No.
Yeah. But there's a difference between being interviewed, Jimmy, and being up on the podium and fielding questions from the media.
Watch it again. Just watch that scene and just really listen to the questions. They are so softball.
I cannot do it.
Yeah, he's a moron. And we learned that throughout the whole movie. He's a moron. He doesn't. Who's been interviewing this whole time?
Himself.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's okay. So I always say this. This is, and I've told you guys this is how I feel about writing. Right? This is how I feel about writing. When it goes back to, and I always reference this every single time. It's the Blues Traveler song, and the lyrics go, "It's a bad play when the hero writes and nobody thinks or expects too much. And Hollywood's calling for the movie rights, singing, hey, baby, let's keep in touch." That's the point. When he interviews himself, He's interviewing himself as the hero. But as soon as he gets actual questions that actually mean something in the geopolitical world, he goes, and he runs away because he doesn't know how to answer them. But if you look at him, it's just his regular questions. She doesn't scream. She doesn't shout. She doesn't even really get that emotional. He's the one who keeps trying to stop the tape. And she's like, whoa, you can't do that. This is an interview. No. This is a live interview. Don't do that. She has to stop it because he becomes a baby and he leaves.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, we're not on opposing sides when it comes to that. Superman in the scene.
No. He's talking about Superman's reaction.
Oh no, sure.
Superman in the scene is the worst. I just don't like Lois,
and that's okay.
Like that's the difference.
That's okay.
The difference is you like Lois, for no reason. Because she's terrible and she's annoying. Every reason. But it's okay.
Lois is an exact. She's the perfect example of Lois Lane.
Of what you think.
A hard-hitting reporter. She's proactive. She gets things done. She doesn't wait for somebody else to do it.
Got zero charisma. Zero charisma. No charisma.
You really think that Lois always had that much charisma?
I mean, every actress.
Nobody liked. Screw all the. They were
okay.
Every other Lois.
Let's look at it.
Terrible.
What about the Lois? The Lois from the animated series had more charisma than that lady.
What do you think she did? Watch them. I've seen Justice League Unlimited and Superman. The Superman. Like a
and she was significantly better.
Hard hitting. She got things done. She was proactive. She did everything that this Lois did, except this Lois, they finally got one that was attractive. Oh, weird.
She was not attractive.
She's
like Fran Drescher.
This is enjoyable for me since I was so indifferent to Lois. This is so funny.
So Lois could have been Gal Gadot, and you think that chick was attractive. I have no idea what you're talking about.
First of all, I think Gal Gadot would have sucked. She did not. She didn't have. She would. What is up with you and Gal Gadot? Anyway,
but at least she's hot. Like at least she's hot. At least she has charisma.
She was This was the best Lois Lane they've ever. Anyway, hold on. Let's move on past this thing. We're 42 minutes in and we barely touched this movie.
Wow.
Okay, so hold on. Let me get something. So let's get to. Let's go to another positive. To two more positives. Okay. Jimmy Olsen, which I thought was awesome.
He was okay. Yeah,
I thought
he was good.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's Jimmy.
But they never cast him bad. But I thought this was a good one. I thought they did a good job with him.
Yeah,
and
he wasn't bad.
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific was. I do agree.
He was.
I thought Mr. Terrific was the best.
He broke out for me. Like I didn't expect anything from him, and I thought it was going to be dumb. But what do you think, Dan? Like for me, it was a breakout in the. He was one of the best things of the movie.
I felt Mr. Terrific. I felt that from a writer's perspective, I felt that Mr. Terrific was only there to move plot. Because Lois Lane couldn't get done what she obviously needed to because she's going into a war zone. So like you had to have a character.
Yeah, she had to have him though.
So what I'm saying is I didn't feel. I guess I didn't feel he was developed enough for me to like him.
No. But if you, I get that. But they didn't have to develop him.
No. But okay. So I'm not saying that his character wasn't cool or he had some good moments or like things like that, right? Or he didn't steal the show at times, which was healthy because a lot of the movie was awful. But I'm saying that for me to care, I'm like, dude, I got nothing invested. You first you talk about the video because it can't be fake for blah blah blah, and then you go to. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I want to piss off Green Lantern, so that's why I'm here. So it was like, so as a writer, right? All I hear when those kind of things happen, not the first one was whatever, but when he says like, why are you here? It's like, oh, I want to piss off Green Lantern, right? Like to me, it's they actually did it a few times in the movie where they use a quick little 1-line or 2-line statement to bypass the reason why there's no like development. It's like, oh, I'm here to piss off Lantern. So that bothers me because all that means he was just a device used to push the plot.
Yes, but Mr. Terrific wasn't. So let's put it this way: I could have cared less if everybody in that movie died. Could have cared less. And I'll tell you why. They didn't develop anybody. Nobody
Sure.
was developed.
Right.
All they
There
had
was
were
no
negatives.
development.
No development.
No development.
Right? So
Of anybody.
No. But the thing about Mr. Terrific is those were him making jokes. Those are jokes, right? He's not going to say, "Oh, I want to come here and help because I think that I need to save Superman." He's like, "Oh, I'm just going to tick off Green Lantern."
But he could. I mean, that would be more development of who he is. Hey, you were right, Lois. Clark, Superman is my friend. Like, he's done a lot for me.
But
like
the Justice.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, if
Justice Gang.
But the Justice Gang. If he were to say, "Hey, you know what? You were right, and that's why I'm here." You've now done two things. You've now shown growth in Mr. Fantastic, and two, Lois has made an impact.
All right,
so. And that's I think that's a healthy thing, because if he said, "Hey, you know what, Lois?" So because of Lois' actions, she goes there, she fights for Superman. This is your friend, all of these things, and gives that really like speech about this. And then if that made him feel like, "Oh man, she's fucking right. I'm being a real coward here." It's kind of a healthy thing for him to admit, like, "Dude, I was wrong. Like, you're right."
Let's look at less his words for your development and your growth for him. And let's look at his actions. He didn't have to stay and he didn't have to stay and close these rifts. He didn't have to stay and figure anything out. He did these things because he wanted to do them.
Well, I think as soon as he realized how effed up the situation was in terms of on a molecular whatever scale it was, like these are going to be black. Like, then he's like, "Oh crap! Like, because I'm so smart, I know this is going to go sideways fast." Then I think he's invested. He has no choice.
But even at a certain point, you go, "Okay, so he actually does care. So there's something to this character. He doesn't."
No, I'm not denying that. I could do without everything being a joke, I guess. Like,
I understand that, but like some of these characters, they first of all, DC does the same thing in this movie that they've done in every other damn movie. They put too many characters in a movie. Why did Captain America, the first Avenger, why did that do well? It focused on Captain America. And you had a villain, but you focused on Captain America. Even the Avengers, you focused on the Avengers, but you built all the Avengers up. Now, what they should have done was taken Superman and focused on one villain. They should have focused on one villain. And it shouldn't have been
him.
No, it would have been great if they focused on a villain, something else, and then in the background you started seeing things about Lex, right, as this strong, stoic dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then when you have him face off against him,
you develop it.
But they didn't develop squat.
And everything was so easy in the movie. Everything was so easy. It's like, "Oh, I get in the Fortress of Solitude. It's easy. I get in. I do this. It's easy. I do everything." Everything was just like, "Oh, hey, nothing is complicated. I'm just bypassing everything. Oh, the plot just goes on. Don't worry, guys. We don't have to try to do anything. The portal's open. Like, everything we just walk through. Like, interdimensional transfer. Like, it's all good."
Perfect. What you're saying is perfect for some notes that I made on this. So, first of all, Lex breaks into the Fortress of Solitude, and we now know, towards the end, we knew why he could break into it, right? But
it was so easy. Oh, just my DNA. So easy.
Yeah, it was a stupid idea. But literally, look at all the Supermans. Everybody breaks into Fortress. He has no locks. That guy has zero security. You got 5,000 robots blocking the thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're not Superman. Oh, that's weird." They're like, "Yeah, well, I just walked through the lock. She left it open." But that's not my point. My point is that so Lex knows things in our world. He doesn't know Kryptonian. But all of a sudden he can bypass Technonian, the engineer. She can do Kryptonian technology. Stupid. They can, and then so even when Mr. Terrific, this was a line that really, really ticked me off. When he's like, "I know those guys who analyze that stuff. They're never wrong." And I'm like, they're analyzing.
What the fuck was that?
Crystal imagery from another planet, and they're like, "No, that's actually accurate." And you're like, "How would you know?" That
whole shit that put him into the spiral for that interview, and that shit was fucking so dumb. God, so bad. Like, oh wait, oh, all the things that you thought your parents were telling you, oh yeah, those people are actually terrible people,
Yeah.
and they want you to kill everybody and rule over everything and make a bunch of babies. Like basically, you know what you are? You're Invincible's dad. You're
Yeah.
Omni-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're Thrag.
You're
That's what you
Omni-Man.
are.
Like,
And but
yeah,
also,
you're
but on,
Thrag.
but on that exact note, it's like, once again, that's not supposed to be the case, because Superman, while he might miss his family because he doesn't know them or his parents, and they loved him, it was supposed to be about he is who he is because of the values he got through his parents here. And
Yeah.
like, and that's what's important. That's what made him what he is. And I thought that was a very bad angle. But if we're talking about things that were really uncharacteristic outside of just that scene, Superman would never pout in his loft while an alien monster was attacking the city. Like,
Oh God.
he would never do
Drinking
that.
a cup of cocoa.
Yeah, that was to
Oh,
me
that's good.
that was
You got it?
yeah. He doesn't behave that way.
No.
Like, everything about him is, if he's gonna he'll take the entire punishment of the world hating him. Actually, it reminds me of a line in Batman where it's like, he doesn't, like, they can hate him all he wants, he's still gonna do it, right? Like, he's gonna do what's necessary because he's Batman. Well, Superman's the exact same way. The difference is one's out in the light and the other one's in the dark. I mean, that's literally the way they are to each other,
Sure.
right? So the mere fact that there's an amoeba thing floating around in the sky attacking the city, it's like, really? It's like, you're just gonna let that happen? Like, that's not
outside of his window.
Yeah, that's not. I know what they're doing, right? As a writer, oh, this is going to be funny and this is going to be comic relief and it's going to bring some chuckles. That's like, but you're destroying. Like, what is your underlying statement you're making about this person? And you're making him very weak. You're making him very, very callous. You're making him very, like, boyish. It's like like there's nothing about him that's, like, noteworthy. It's like.
And part of the problem with the entire way that they portrayed Superman is this is a man who had to at least go through at least 4 years of college. And then probably after that to become a reporter. Yeah. He's supposed to be extremely, extremely intelligent, like beyond a regular person's capacity. And instead, he's just like, oh, man, I'm just every man. Don't worry about it. I'm like, literally, I could have been on the football team. And like, oh, Jimmy hurt my feelings when he took my girlfriend. Like, what the hell are we talking about? Like, that way that they portrayed him as being, he's supposed to be grounded because his morals are extremely high because of his family upbringing. Right. But not grounded like, hey, I got grounded by my dad last Tuesday. I'm sorry. My dog ate my homework.
Well, I mean, his father, the line that really rubbed me the wrong way, because I mean, as a parent, and I know you too, Drew, is like when he said it's not your parents' job to tell you who to be, like, or something along those lines. I'm like, that's exactly our job. Yeah. Like, it's our job to raise you and instill in you. Yeah, obviously we want you to be able to critically think for yourself, to develop yourself, to be your own person, your own man, your own woman, to face the challenges of the world and give you the tools necessary to do that. But part of being a parent is instilling the moral compass to have it point north. I mean, that's the idea. And his dad basically told him, it's not my job to tell you how to do those things. And to me, that was such a horrible thing for a father to say to his son. Yeah. I mean, boys are looking up to their dads. They're looking for that guidance. They're looking for that wisdom. They're looking how to be a man. I mean, and it's a very big deal going from boy to man to having that father, like, who's there for you and giving you these advice. Like, my father has passed. And, to this day, I still wish he was here for me in moments. And I'm like, I wish I had his guidance or advice to be there for me. Sure. And so to shrug it off like it's not my job to teach you things. I mean, I was really blown away by that line. It really struck me.
Hold on, just before you hit. So let's I'm gonna to cap on that. Let's put it in perspective with the theme of this movie. First of all, I watched every damn second of this thing too many times. So
Twice.
and that's too many times. 40 minutes in is too many times. So the only people to cry in this movie were the men, right? They're the only ones. Nobody else cried. The guys were the only cried. You know who cried? Superman cried twice. Elemental Man cried twice. His Clark's dad cried twice. And why did Lex cry? Why did Lex cry? Because he got caught. Yeah. He got caught. Yeah. Right? So there.
What about
go ahead.
No, the girl Jimmy Olsen.
No. She got scared. She never cried. There was never tears. There were never tears. Now, there may have been smeared mascara, but on screen, she was never crying.
It looked like... Yeah.
But that's what I mean. There was smeared mascara, but on screen, she wasn't dripping tears. She wasn't actually crying. Yeah. Now, she may have been scared into crying, but off camera. But on camera, the only people to cry in this were men. And as far as Superman goes, what was I at? Hold on a second. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So 10 times he was on his back in this movie. 10 individual times. And for 13 minutes of one of those times, he got his rear end handed to him. He got beat up for 13 minutes straight in the stadium.
Yeah.
13 minutes. All he did was get beat up.
Yeah. This movie was basically just a total demolish of what a hero should be.
Sure.
Like it was like, hey, oh yeah, heroes aren't strong. They're actually really weak, cryy bitches. And in the end, they might pull it off. Just so you know, it's okay. Like that was it. He was, you know what the problem is? Like, I get it. You have guys like John Wick who are super badass, who kill everybody. Yeah. And like, I kill a million dudes and it's really awesome that I'm super badass. But you don't have to kill a million dudes to be really badass and to take care of business.
Well,
Reachers still kill a lot of dudes.
Yeah, but he doesn't kill. But he's got more of that intimidation and smack you in the face and then walk away.
If you want to pick someone from film that redefined an action genre, pick John McClane, because he regularly gets his ass kicked along the way, except he gets W's along the way too. So he keeps fighting despite getting maybe beat up some or shot some or blown up some, and he keeps on going. So even though he's not like obviously Reacher or Wick, who practically don't even get hit, he still pursues his end result, and because he has the grit, right? He has grit and he has his wits about him. So like that's what I think of. Like, but Superman didn't even, this version of him, this mediocre version of him, didn't even have grit. Like he just kept getting he didn't even get little wins along the way. He just kept losing.
The problem is this. This is what I hate most about people who write really overpowered characters. Yeah. So like Superman is an overpowered character. Sure. He is a character that cannot be hurt. He is invulnerable. Like everything bounces off of him. He's not supposed to get hurt ever. Like, so what you do is usually what they do is they'll throw kryptonite in the mix so he feels weaker. But it's just terrible writing. Why write him if you're worried about writing an overpowered character? You have to want to write a overpowered character because that's what he is. Now, you can write it really poorly. Yeah. Like we saw Miss Marvel, what's her name? What's the girl's name? Captain Marvel. Yeah. Captain Marvel. Okay, Captain Marvel is an example of a really poorly written, overpowered character, right? Just a terribly written, overpowered character. But then you have a character like All Might from My Hero Academia, or you have a character like like Saitama, One Punch Man, who's extremely overpowered. And they still manage to make that character relatable, funny, and even if the fight is not the main thing because all he does is punch the guy one time and he dies, like it's still exciting.
I was gonna
Superman makes it exciting,
Yeah.
but he shouldn't be getting beat up. Like it doesn't hurt.
At least
Like
not
you
in
hit him,
full
it doesn't hurt.
That's why you make the movie not about Superman per se. You make it about the buildup around him, about Clark Kent, about his other life, about other things.
Well,
And
let's
then,
do-
because when Superman has to enter the fray, then you see what Superman is.
Okay, in this, and so they're the perfect example of what I thought they should have done with this, and what Superman is, was, I'll bring it up again, Superman Returns. And I'll tell you why. Lex is making a bunch of new land, but he infuses it with kryptonite. What does Superman do? He lifts an entire Earth chunk of kryptonite, even though it's killing him, and he throws it into space. Now, he's trying to fall to his death, but he throws the damn thing into space because that's what has to be done.
Right.
That's the thing that has to be done. He musters what he needs to muster in order to get the job done. And how does he do it? Because he's Superman.
I mean, there was a scene in the comics where something happened with the rotation around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Lantern hooks Superman up to a giant device so he can pull the Earth around the sun. Like that is the character you're dealing with. You're dealing with a character.
Yeah, but that's more like a one-off though, because there's times in comics where they do like that's like saying like Spider-Man when he's Cosmic Spider-Man. It's like, dude, that's don't even.
No. But what I'm saying is you're dealing with a character who is supposed to be beyond any earthly thing.
100%.
And you write him like he's a whiny little bitch, and then you wonder why everybody gets pissed off.
Well, put it this way. I know we're going over, but for example, Jim Lee's Superman 206. Okay, Elementals. I know you don't. You probably don't remember. Anyway, Elementals are trash and everything. Elementals are trash and everything, right? Yeah. Superman's fed up. He shows up. He's in the middle of it. He goes, "You're done." And they're like, "Well, we'll do what we want." And he's like, "Okay, but what I'm going to do is to wind." He looks at wind. He goes, "I'll burn off the atmosphere, and then you're done." And then he looks to the water and he goes, "Once I burn off the atmosphere, the water's gone too." And then he's like, "Oh," and then he goes, "And then what I'll do is I'll rip the planet in half, and then Earth is gone." Oh, no. And the elementals are like, "You'd never do that." He goes, "I would rather do that than give it to you. So what do you want to do?" And they're like, "All right, we're gonna go," and they just leave. But all he does is just go, "I'll destroy the whole planet before I give it to you." And they believe him because he can do it. But he didn't need to do anything. He didn't need to fight him. He didn't. I think he did fight him in that. But what I mean was, when he was done, he didn't need to do any of that. He was just like, "Hey, this is who I am, and I'm capable of it. And if you don't believe me, I don't bluff." And then boom.
So you're saying
they just stop.
He speaks loud. He speaks softly and carries a big stick.
He does. Oh, what did we do? Drew dropped out.
Yeah, I think his
yeah,
lag.
that's disappointing. Okay, well, I guess we'll call that. I'm disappointed that Drew, he must be having internet issues. So Drew has some internet issues. We talked about them in the beginning. Daniel, this was super fun.
I had a
lot of fun.
Yeah,
even though there was so much anger.
It was a good time. I mean, I love that I don't have nearly as much of a stake in terms of the passion for the characters, because they're not my passion.
Right.
But it's fun to at least give my analysis of the film itself. Yeah,
that was super fun. I know Drew had fun. I had so much. I've been waiting to talk about this one since I first saw it, because I saw it and nobody else saw it, and I was so angry. So anyway, once again, Daniel, thank you for showing up, and
thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Let's hope you guys can like and subscribe. We're going to keep pumping these things out as long as we want to do them, and as long as, well, let's hope eventually most people will want to see them. But anyway, so that's the end of this episode where we reviewed the new Superman. This is hold on, Drew might be coming in to say goodbye. I don't know yet.
Died a terrible death.
I could tell. You dropped off. You upset the Superman gods and they sent you to your basement.
They didn't like it.
Anyway, I was saying goodbye to everybody, and I was like, oh. So anyway, thanks, Drew. We'll see you guys next week when we record another episode 4. Anyway, thanks, guys. Bye.
Good night. Night.
Bye.